So let's start with the second lecture on single phase induction motor. As compared to your three phase induction motor, this single phase induction motor is very easy. This is your module 4. So three single phase induction motor, you will see what we'll study are very specific topics. Okay, these are very easy. In three phase induction motor, you'll have large formulas, large number of problems, so many explanations. So it's a vast thing. So you'll see module 4 is very easy compared to your module 3. What we had done last day is that we had seen that because if I give a single phase supply, there was no rotating magnetic field created. So we have to split that single supply into two parts, so that the resultant was produced and that resultant would be rotating in nature. So that's why we were using two windings. One was a main winding and auxiliary winding. And by double revolving field theory, we had proved that one single flux or MMF or anything, you can be take it anything, can be split up into uh, two equal parts. Phi, if I take a flux phi, it was divided into two equal parts, phi by 2, phi by 2. And both were producing two torques. One is your forward torque, which is assisting the motion, and one is acting an opposite. But at starting, the torque was zero, as forward torque and backward torque was equal. So net torque TF minus TB is equal to 0. So what we have to do at the starting itself, since there is no starting torque, we have to give an additional torque from an external circuit to start the motor. So now what we will do is do the equivalent circuit of a single phase induction motor. Now, as we have also done equivalent circuit of three phase induction motor, we had seen there was a stator quantity R1 XM, R1 X1, RC XM, and on the rotor side there was R2 X2 and R2 into 1 minus S by S. If you recall the quantities, these are but the quantities which are present in three phase induction motor. Same thing would be over here also. Okay, we have a stator part, we have a rotor part. And we had also done in three phase induction motor, RC could be neglected and only one single branch could be considered. That means there is no core loss. All the at no load, all the power is producing the flux. There is there is no copper loss over there. V into the component which was producing the loss on low load. So I am thinking that all the power is producing my flux only. So that's why RC was neglected. So over here we had taken that approximate equivalent circuit and drawn it. So there is no RC in the circuit over here. And keeping into mind that there are two torques or two fields produced. Okay, one is the forward field, one is the backward field. F for forward, B for backward. So for each case, we have considered, because of that forward field, some current will be produced, and for that some impedance will be there and some EMF. So that forward field, which is EF, will be E by 2. If your total supply is E, suppose you don't consider V1, you suppose if this is E over here, then this will be E by 2, this will be E by 2. Because we have studied now, flux can be divided into two equal halves, 5 by 2, 5 by 2. Current will be similarly, current will be divided into two equal halves, I and I by 2, I by 2 and I by 2. Similarly, your EMF also will be E by 2 and E by 2. So the stator side remains same, R1. Okay, you can do like this, but rather I will prefer this one because all circuit is in series. Okay, so you can write directly R1 and X1 over here instead of writing it separately. So from your supply V1, we have R1 X1 or R1 by 2 X1 by 2. Then we have the components due to our forward field, which is E by 2. The xm becomes xm by 2 and this becomes r2 by 2 x2 by 2. Similarly, for the backward field, all the same components, xm by 2, r2 by 2, x2 by 2, both in parallel, and e by 2. And then total stator impedance is how much, r1 and x1. So if there is r1 by 2 written over here, if you are drawing the first diagram over here, so you should add another r1 by 2 at the bottom also. If this is x1 by 2, this is x1 by 2. Total impedance of the stator will be r1 and x1. So I1 is your stator current and V1 is your stator supply voltage, single phase supply voltage. Since we are talking single phase motor, so V1 will be a single phase supply voltage. Now, this equivalent circuit is when rotor is blocked or the rotor is not running, because you know slip will be how much, 1. Right, during this case when rotor is blocked, NR is equal to 0, so slip is equal to NS by NS is equal to 1. So what is the actual value we had studied last day? R2 by 2S. So 2S becomes 1. R2 by 2 into 2 minus S. So 2 minus 1 becomes 1. So R2 by 2 again. So this is equivalent circuit with rotor block. Please be careful. What I told you to remember is using slip, because using slip, if you remember this second diagram, if you remember, if you put the conditions, you will get the first diagram. Okay, so remember the second diagram. See over here, you have done R1 and X1 as a whole. You could have drawn R1 by 2 and X1 by 2 also, no problem. For the forward field, it is Xm by 2, X2 by 2 and R2 by 2S. Remember, the slip due to forward field was Sf is equal to S, and slip due to backward field SB was equal to 2 minus S. Please recall the last day's lecture. So R2 by 2 into 2 minus S. Okay, X2 by 2. You could have written I to B over here, no problem, I to F separately, but you see the whole circuit comes in series. So if I1 is entering over here, I to F is equal to I1. Okay, so whatever the current comes out over here will be again I1 over here. If they are thinking that means according to the diagram, see I to F is in this direction, then it is okay. If you are thinking I to F as the total current in this parallel branch, then I1 is nothing but I to F is nothing but I to B. Now, what we have to do next is follow some calculation. From this equivalent circuit, you will be given problems. So first thing what we have to do is calculate the forward impedance, that is this value, the impedance in this parallel path. And second thing what we'll do is calculate this backward impedance. And then what we can do is, if I calculate the total impedance over here, which is R1 plus JX1 plus ZF plus ZB, and if I V1 by total Z, if I do, I can get I1. So I can get my stator current. So first step will always be to calculate your ZF and ZB. So what will be ZF? So if you see the equation, these two are in series. So R2 by 2S plus JX2, series combination R plus JX, and this will be in parallel. So R2 by 2S plus JX2 parallel with JXM by 2, right? So Z1 into Z2 by Z1 plus Z2. So this term A into this term B by sum of A plus B. So same thing is written over here, J into XM by 2 into R2 by 2S plus JX2 by 2. This we had taken as A, this we had taken as B. So A into B by A plus B. So R2 by 2S plus JX2 by 2 plus XM by 2. Now over here you have to again go for polar conversion or rectangular conversion, because ultimately if you are doing division, your answer will come in polar form. That means A at an angle theta. And you need to convert it into rectangular form. You know this calculation, I am not telling you again. So A at an angle theta will be converted into A plus JB. That will give you, A will be your RF and B will be your XS. And what will be for your backward field impedance? Same process, these two in parallel. So Z1 into Z2 by Z1 plus Z2. So what is Z1? R2 by 2 into 2 minus S plus JX2. And what is Z2 is JXM by 2. So R2 by 2 into 2 minus S plus JX2 into JXM by 2, Z1 Z2 by Z1 plus Z. R2 by 2 into 2 minus S plus J of the X terms. Next step what we have to do is to calculate the total power. In order to calculate the total power, we need the power produced by each fields. Okay, power produced by the forward field and power delivered by, means power produced by the backward field. So what is the air gap power? First we'll calculate, because you know using air gap power all the relation comes. You can, if you calculate your air gap power, then you can get your mechanical power, then you can get your stator input, then you can get your rotor copper loss. Everything can be calculated from air gap power. All relations come from that induction, three-phase induction motor only. So we'll follow that same procedure over here only. So air gap power, which is delivered from stator winding to forward field. So from stator winding, what is my current over here? I. So I1 square, what is the resistance over here? I1 square RS. So please be careful. Your answer will come in at an angle theta, but you need in the form RF plus JXF, because you need see RF over here. Now what will be torque? Torque will be powered by omega. So TF, forward field torque, F for forward. So TF will be PGF, that you have calculated over here, divided by omega S. Next, same thing will go for the calculation of power for the backward field. So again, I1 square enters, as I had told you, this I1 is only entering this whole quantity. So I1 square is entering over here. So I1 square into which resistance over here now? RB. So we'll calculate that RB from here by converting into from polar to rectangular, and then calculate a PG. Then backward field torque, same formula, power by omega s. So power is PGB divided by omega s. Angular velocity, you know, 4 pi f by p or 2 pi ns by 60. You substitute ns as 120 f by p, you will get 4 pi f by p. This one we had already done in three-phase induction. So omega s is equal to 4 pi f by p. So what will be the net torque developed? So net torque developed, as we had discussed, will be Tf minus Tb. So Tf minus Tb will give you your net torque. Now what will be the internal power developed or net power developed or the mechanical power developed? This you can call as mechanical power developed, PM. So what is mechanical power? 1 minus S into Pg. So 1 minus S PM is equal to 1 minus S into Pg. What is Pg? The difference of the power between the forward field and backward field. So PGF minus PGB. Okay. So 1 minus S into PGF minus PGB will be this. This all formulas you have to remember, because a problem can come from this formula. Okay. Next, what will be the rotor ohmic loss? You know, rotor ohmic loss is nothing but SPG. So there will be two losses, rotor ohmic loss, one due to forward field, one due to backward field. That will be one due to forward field will be SPGF, and one due to backward field. What is the S due to backward field? Is 2 minus S. So this will be 2 minus S into PGB. So if you remember your three-phase induction motor formulas, single phase is same. Okay, all relation comes from there, except there is two fields over here. One is forward, one is backward. Okay, so all relations are same. Please relate and study everything, because there are a huge number of formulas. Try to relate each and every formula and try to remember. And obviously you have to practice. Otherwise you can't solve the problems. Okay. And at last what we will do is calculate our shaft torque. What we do, shaft torque, at the output is shaft, and we had already calculated is our P. So if I subtract my rotational losses, that is my friction and windage loss, from there, we'll get a shaft torque. Again, what from where I am telling? I am telling from the power flow diagram, which I had taught you in three-phase induction motor. So my reference is all three-phase induction motor, and from that we are deriving the equation of single-phase induction. So P minus rotational loss, and what will be shaft torque? Obviously divided by omega R, because rotor speed. So what will be omega R? 1 minus S into omega S. Okay, so units are, you know, Newton per meter, Newton meter is what. So these are all the formulas, A to J. To point number 2, A to J, all these formulas you have to remember. Otherwise you can't solve problems related to equivalent circuit of induction motor. So we'll take a problem and see how these formulas are applied. It is a direct problem, you just have to apply all the formulas, but we'll just go through it. Okay. So see over here, it is said that at 230 volt, 50 hertz, 4 pole single phase induction motor. So supply is 230 volt, single phase supply. Please be careful, single phase supply. 50 hertz. So you don't have to do divided by root 3 or equal to means VL equal to VPH for your delta, and for your star is VL equal to root 3 VPH for star. So you don't have to go for that conversion. Please do follow this, because see the question which motor it is asked. If it is single phase, no need for line to phase conversion. You can directly use 230 volt. So voltage is given 230, frequency 50 hertz, pole is 4 pole, and all the equivalent circuit parameters are given: R1, R2, X1, X2, Xn. So all these values are given: R1, R2, X2, Xm, all these values are given. Now friction windage core loss as a total is given for 40 watt. Now motor is running at a slip of 0.03 at rated voltage and frequency. Calculate my stator current. So how will you calculate your stator current? So first thing, what is my stator current? This I1. So just think it is a normal circuit. If I find the total impedance of the circuit and we divide V1 divided by that total impedance, that is V1 by Z equivalent, then I can get my I1. So how can I get my Z equivalent? Can I do ZF plus ZB plus R1 plus JX1? So that's where I can get my equivalent impedance. So that's why we'll find out first ZF, then ZB, then add those two along with R1 and JX1. So we'll get our Z equivalent. So this should be our procedure. So first we are finding ZF, RF plus JXF. I have written the formula again and just substitute the value. XM is 80, R2 is 4.5, 2S, S is 0.03, so 2 into 0.03 plus X2 by 2. X2 is 2.6, 2.6 by 2. Plus 4.5, R2 is 4.5, 2 into 0.03, X2 by 2, X2 is 2.6, 2.6 by 2 plus 80 by 2. You do this calculation. I expect that everybody can do this calculation till now. So you can get a value in polar form. Okay. And that can be converted into your rectangular form and kept. Okay. So always keep your answer in rectangular form. You need rectangular form later because you need RF to calculate those powers. So ZF is equal to 16.37 plus J of something ohms. Now similarly what we'll find is find out ZB. So ZB is RB plus JXB. Recall the formula which we have written over here. Okay, ZB written over here, and this formula only we have substituted over there. And just put in the value. XM 80, S is 0.03, R2 4.5, X2 2.6. Again R2 SM value, X2 is 2.6, XM 8. And calculated it 1.07 plus J 1.29. See, these problems you have to practice and do it on your own because I can't do calculation. If it was class, I could have done sit with the calculator, show you all the calculations, what it is done. But these steps, all these things are written over here. Calculation part you have to do. Formulas are same. See, formulas you have to remember. You have to write down the formulas, put the values. Calculation, you have to use your calculator and do it. I have used it and written the values. Similarly, you have to do it. That is your task. Okay. So please find time and try to do all the calculations. And if you have difficulty with any calculation, please tell me. Now, Z equivalents we have to find out. So ZF plus ZB plus R1 plus JX1. So what was R1 given in question? 2.2. What is RF? 16.37. So 2.2 plus 16.37 plus 1.07. Now, next is X1. What is X1? 3.1. So 3.1. 30.98 is XF. So 30.98. And what is the XB? 1.29. So written all this, written the equation, converted into polar form. Because ultimately we have to find out current, and current is nothing but needs V by Z. And division means we have to convert in polar form. You can use this form also, otherwise you can do complex conjugate and find out. You have to do complex conjugate and find out. Whichever you like, you can do the process. So what is V1? V1 is 230 volt, single phase supply, no phase angle is given, so we should consider it as at an angle 0. So at an angle 0 it is considered, divided by Z equivalent is 40.457 at an angle 60.96. So that gives you 40 into 5 gives you how much? 200, so it should be near 5 only, so 5.685. And this angle goes in the numerator and becomes minus 60.96. Now, next we have found out our stator current, that is V1 by Z equivalent. Next what we will do is find out the power factor. So how do you find out the power factor? Whatever angle you get for the current, you just do cos of that. Simple basic electrical circuit theory knowledge. Only thing is that for each specific problem, means each specific part, you have a separate formula. Otherwise, all things are similar. So V1 by Z equivalent gives the angle minus 60.96. So we'll do cos of that 60.96, we'll get 0.485. Recall our facts of transformer and also your first year theories. This minus indicates lag. So that's why in bracket we have always to write the power factor, whether it is leading or lagging. So I've written lag over here. Next, developed power. Always when question is asked about developed power, you should find out your PM. Okay. So PM, or you can be asked as internal power, or you can be asked as net power. So PM formula is 1 minus S into PG. So PGF minus PGB. So that formula only I've written, 1 minus S into PGF minus PGB. Now what we'll do is next I'll substitute PGF and PGB. So let us go to the formula list and check what is PGF. I1 square RF. And what is PGB? I1 square RB. So we'll go to the formula. I'll substitute 1 minus S I1 square. Take in I1 square RF, I1 square RB over here. Then you can take I1 square common. So I1 minus S I1 square RF minus RB. Then you substitute the formula. What is your S? 0.03. What is your I1? You have already calculated 5.685. 5.685. RF and RB already calculated. See, always we have to convert using this formula into your rectangular form. See, we need your RF. So 16.37. We need your RF over here also. So always your J form is essential. So 16.37. What is RB? 1.07. So minus 1.07. Do this multiplication. You will go get 479.65 watts. So that is your developed power. Next, what will be your output power? What is the output power? Developed power PM minus the losses. What is my losses given over here? 40 watt. Okay. So 479 minus 40 gives you 439.65 watt. Simple calculation. What is my torque next? Go by the formula. If you don't remember the formula also, what is output torque? You know output power by omega R. So output power is P minus rotational losses by 1 minus S into omega S. So that only we have done over here. So PSH divided by 1 minus S into omega S. What is PSH? Output power. You can write POP also. Any name you can go by. So 439.65 divided by 1 minus 0.03. What is omega S? 4 pi F by P. 4 pi. What is my frequency? 50 hertz. What is my pole? 4. So 4 pi into 50 by 4. That gives me 50 pi. Right. 50 into 0.97 and in the numerator 439.65, that gives you 2.885 Newton meter. Just go through the calculation, okay, and check whether I have done the calculation or not correctly. I have just checked once the calculation. Maybe typing mistake can also be done. Please go through it, but formulas are also are all correct, and methods which I am telling you is you have to follow. Please don't go by the values. Values you just check it using your own calculator and see where the same values are coming on, because I have typed so many things, so there may be some mistakes. Now, next, what will be the efficiency? Now, efficiency means output power by input power. So output power we had already got it 439.65. Can I calculate my input power? Yes, it is a single phase supply. I can calculate my active power. What is my active power? VI cos phi. What is V? 230. What is I? 5.685. What is cos phi? 0.485. So that is written over here, 230 into 5.685 into 0.485 is your 69.33%. Okay. Before going into the next topic, I'll also like to say you this power factor problem. In the quiz, one question was given about power factor. Many of you had done wrong. That's the basic formula. VI cos phi is equal to your power. From there, you can determine your cos phi. So that was what I asked you. That was a first year question. Most of you have got wrong. Only few of them have got it correct. Answer was 0.85. So how to find your power factor? Either you find out I cos of this angle, or Vi cos phi is equal to power. So cos phi is equal to power divided by Vi. So that is how you can find out your power factor. So this type of problem can come for your equivalent circuit. So for that you need to remember this 10 formulas. 2A2, point number 2, A2J. Okay, all these formulas you have to remember. Okay. Next question is like a little bit tricky question. Okay, and you will understand how to solve it also. So see over here, a single phase 4-pole induction motor takes a line current of 60 at an angle -70 ampere at standstill. Okay, remember they have used the word standstill, with its main winding excited from a 230 volt 50 hertz supply. So if you are giving a 230 volt 50 hertz supply, at the output at standstill condition, what we are getting is 60 at an angle -70 degrees. So that is nothing but your rotor current. Neglecting stator impedance, magnetizing current, and rotational losses, calculate the torque at a slip of 0.05. So they have specified some specific conditions. You have to neglect your stator impedance, you have to neglect your magnetizing current, you have to neglect your rotational losses. So now what will be my approach? So if you recall your facts over here, I am showing this formula only torque. The torque is nothing but this P minus your rotational losses, whatever is given, divided by 1 minus S into omega S, right? So what is this P? 1 minus S into PGF minus PGB minus your rotational losses. Can I say, since in this problem rotational losses is not given, so can I say this PSH, what we have obtained last, is nothing but this PM or this developed power? Yes, because no rotational losses is given. So what will be my formula at the numerator? If I go to this main formula, what will be the formula at the numerator? It will be 1 minus S into I1 square into RF minus RB, right? 1 minus S into I1 square into RF minus RB directly. Minus rotational losses that gets cancelled out, divided by 1 minus S omega S. So 1 minus S cuts out. Omega S is equal to 4 pi F by P, 4 pi into 50 by 4. Okay, so 50 hertz, 4-pole, done. What next you have to calculate is RF and RB and I1. Okay, so this is my general formula. I have substituted all the values, tried to find out the torque, but I couldn't find out because I don't have I1, I don't have RF, RB. So next what we'll do is find out your RF, RB and I1. Now, already line current at the output is given 60 at an angle -70, and supply voltage is given this one. So can I divide this one by this one and get R2 plus Jx2? Okay, so Z2 is equal to R2 by Jx2. Now, can anyone tell me why I have taken R2 plus Jx2 and not any other formula? What should be the alternate to this formula? R2 plus Jx2. What should be written in general form? Anybody? Can you tell me? What should be Z2 written in general form? Think about normal induction motor. What should Z2 written in?
Sir, Zn equal to Rn plus Jxn.
No. Is Z2 terms of A equation the key change of R2 plus Jx2. The what should be the change? Everything is written in question. I'm just think what is in the load. It was R2 by S, right? And X2. So R2 by X plus Jx2 is nothing but is Z2. Right? I'm saying it correct. Hopefully everybody has understood. R2 by S plus Jx2. But this condition occurs at standstill. What is standstill slip? Is 1. So R2 by S becomes R2. So that is what I'm asking. The general formula is R2 by S plus Jx2. Or if you can modify it, R2 plus R2 into 1 minus S by S. That is modified. But I consider my general form R2 by S plus Jx2. And why S is 1? Because standstill. Divide this 2, get this equation.
Let's standstill না হলে R2 by S লিখেতে S এর ভ্যালুটা তাহলে পুট করতে হতো তো বার করে।
একদম এই কারেন্ট যদি বলে দিত, হ্যাঁ, this 60 at an angle -70 at a slip of 0.05, then I would have used R2 by 0.05 plus Jx2 is equal to this. Okay.
ঠিক আছে।
So তাহলে কি হতো, R2 by 0.05 will be equal to 1.311. So R2 is equal to 1.311 into 0.05. That would have been the actual R2 value in that case. Okay. So 230 by 60 at an angle minus 70, that gives you 3.833 at an angle 70, and that can be converted into polar form. Okay, I'm not going into detail about this. Now ZF is equal to RF plus JXF. Now over here, see, I have just used R2 by S plus JX2 by 2 because magnetizing current is neglected. You go to the main figure, magnetizing current neglected, so Xm by 2 is neglected, right? Xm by 2 is neglected, so only part in the forward is remaining, R2 by 2S and X2, and in the backward is remaining R2 by 2 into 2 minus S and JX2. So that's why, oh, I have given a hyperlink over here. Okay, so that's why we had used only the right hand side of this things. Okay, but in the previous problem we had used the whole equation. Please be careful when to use which equation. Go by the problem statement. So again, putting the values of R2S and X2, we'll get this one. I'm not going into detail of this because we have done it. We are just substituting the value of R2 as calculated from here, X2 calculated from here, see, 3.602 1.311, and substituting it over here and getting your value of ZF. Similarly goes for ZB and get your value of RB and X. Now if you calculate your ZB and all, now how to calculate your I1? Just going into your I1 is V1 by Z equivalent. What is that? R1 plus JX1 plus ZF plus ZB, right? So if I go into this, again stator impedance is neglected, so again R1 and JX1 is neglected. So go by the problem, again and again I am repeating to you, go by the problem. Stator impedance is neglected, so in this formula is modified into, this part gets cancelled out, so Z equivalent is equal to ZF plus ZB. That is what my formula is. So Z equivalent is ZF plus ZB. Substitute all these values, get in polar form, because ultimately you need to find out I1, and in current you need to do division. So doing division, 230 by this one, you'll get 16.523, and angle will go in the numerator, get minus 50. Now substitute it over here. This is a simple process. I'm not going into detail. This you can substitute and get 22.2 meters. So first thing what we did is neglected rotational losses. So PM was equal to PSH. Next thing what we did, we calculated the RF and RB by neglecting our magnetizing current. So XM was neglected, so that became a series branch. So only the series part was considered. So that gave me this equation and equation. Before that, what we need is calculator R2. Since 60 at an angle minus 70 was given at standstill, this is R2 by S plus JX2. This S will be equal to 1. So you calculate this in polar form and convert it into rectangular form. You'll get your R2 and JX2. Okay. So this is how your problem should be done, all followed by the same steps. Those 10 formulas which we have done, we'll follow those 10 formulas and solve the problem only. And there may be specific type of problem. One is direct, one is little bit tricky. So take care of what problem is tricky. Okay. Next, what we have to do, all using this, we have followed the same procedure. See what we did in a three-phase induction motor, we solved the problem using equivalent circuit. Then what we did, we learned the method of finding those equivalent circuit parameters. So what are those methods? One is block rotor test, one is no load test, which is similar to your open circuit test and short circuit test. Short circuit test being your block rotor test and open circuit test being your no load test. Now what happens in block rotor test? What you do? You block the rotor, right? That means short circuit test, so maximum current should flow. So now what will happen when you block the rotor? That rated current should flow through the ammeter. And three instruments are required, you know, one is voltmeter, one is ammeter, one is wattmeter. 2 minutes. One is voltmeter, one is ammeter, one is wattmeter. All these tests are similar for all the machines. So you don't have to use different types of instrument. So over here, what we do, stator is given the supply. The rotor is kept at rest or blocked by using a belt around it. We are blocking the rotor. We are giving a supply to the stator, and slowly we are increasing the supply voltage to the stator until the ammeter reads the rated current. Same procedure, same procedure. So now, since it is a block rotor test, rated current will flow. So as soon as rated current flows, we'll take the reading of the voltmeter, ammeter, wattmeter. That will be VSC, ISC, and VSC. SC stands for short circuit. Okay. Generally, your rotor resistance, stator resistance will be given in your question, which will be maybe stated as direct AC resistance or DC resistance. If it is stated DC resistance, then you can multiply with your with a quantity 1.1 to 1.3. Any value we have used in three-phase induction motor also. We generally use 1.2. You convert your DC resistance into AC resistance by multiplying with 1.2. Okay. And how can you calculate your DC resistance? You can use a voltmeter ammeter method. You can supply the main voltage, calculate the current, divide the voltage by current, you will get your resistance. DC value. Okay. So if you are supplying DC, there will be no effect of your inductance. You are getting the resistance of it. That's why you have done all this in measurement. So that's why ammeter voltmeter method will be used for finding out your DC resistance. Okay, one important condition which should be followed is that in block rotor test, the main winding is excited and the auxiliary winding is kept open. So main winding is given the supply. There is no supply given to the auxiliary winding. And what are the parameters that have to be calculated from here? If R1 is known, which has to be calculated previously, R2, X1 and X2 are to be calculated from this test. XM will be calculated from the other test.
Sir, auxiliary winding mane kon khanta?
What parameters we can find out is R1, R2, X1 and X2. We can, and if R1 should be known, calculated previously, otherwise this cannot be done. You can see it later, and XM will be calculated from the other test. Now over here we'll take some consideration. Since your rotor is blocked, rotor is not rotating, what is NR? 0. So what will be slip? Slip is equal to 1. Right. So if you want to calculate slip is equal to 1, so this becomes R2 by 2. Right. This is R2 by 2 into 2 minus S. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So this also becomes R2 by 2 and X2 by 2. Okay, this is the whole circuit over here. So VSC you are supplying. What current you are getting? ISC. This is the stator impedance over here, R1 plus JX1, and rotor side represented as this one. Forward field, this is your backward field. This is your backward field, this is your forward field. And we had eliminated our XM. Why we have eliminated our XM? During the block rotor test, what happened? In order to produce the full load current, the voltage supply is very low. You know this, right? And for that voltage supply, core loss is directly proportional to voltage square. So if your voltage is less, your core loss can be neglected. So that flux will be very small during this condition. So XM can be neglected. So we have to neglect this XM. That's why it is kept open over here. So how will you do the calculations over here? Same thing as we had done in open circuit test, short circuit test. ZSC was VSC by ISC. Then calculated RSC because we are getting copper loss over here, PSC by I square. Sorry. RSC is equal to PSC by I square SC. Now, if you calculate the total resistance in this path, okay, so total resistance will be RC over here, RSC, because if you do total power consumed by the circuit divided by ISC square, you'll get the total resistance in this path. What is the total resistance in this path? R1 plus R2 by 2 plus R2 by 2, right? So R2 by 2 plus R2 by 2 gives you R2. So R1 plus R2 is nothing but RSC. So this can be written as R1 plus R2. So from here you can calculate your R2 is equal to RSC minus R1. So always R1 should be specified in your question. Otherwise it can't be solved. Your problem can't be solved. Next, can calculate your XC. Again, same thing. You can calculate your XC. What will be the impedance of your XC? You can do X1 plus X2 by 2 plus X2 by 2. So that gives you X1 plus X2. Generally, this X1 and X2 by any experimental method, we can't separate these two out. So both are taken to be equal. So X1 is equal to X2 is equal to XSC by 2. So XSC by 2. So this formula, 5 formulas you should remember. Next is your no load test. So at no load test, what we do? We supply maximum voltage because it is open circuit test. No need to flow maximum current, but we have to give maximum voltage. So we give a rated voltage to the stator, right? And the rotor is run at no load. So motor is run at rated voltage at frequency. So again, same thing under when the rated voltage is reached. Previously was when the rated current was reached, we took the readings. Now when rated voltage is reached, we are taking the readings over here. So we are taking the voltmeter, ammeter, and wattmeter reading as VNL, INL, and PNL. Okay, the NL stands for no load. And over here, what is the parameter left? Xm. So Xm is calculated. Now again, we have to take some assumption over here and draw the equivalent circuit likewise. So what is the assumption taken over here? Now, since our motor is running at no load, okay, that means it is running at the maximum speed, so slip will be close to 0. So slip will be close to 0. So what will happen to R2 by 2s? So R2 by 2 into 0. So R2 by 0, that gives me infinity. So it becomes infinity, maximum. And what happens to this one? R2 by 2 into 2 minus s, R2 by 4. So this becomes minimum, right? If this is R2, if s equal to 1, so this becomes R2 by 2, right? And now it becomes R2 by 4. So this value reduces, this value reduces. So this is greater than this value. So this value reduces and this value increases to infinity. Now, if you consider the circuit, if this is infinite, right? This was, if you consider this circuit, why we have eliminated this? Now this side R2 by, now I'll remove this one. This was R2 by 2s, right? This becomes infinity. So if resistance becomes infinite, what will happen to the current? 0. So that's why open circuit. So only Xm by 2 is given. Now over here consideration, since this becomes minimum, so maximum current will flow through this path only. So that's why in comparison to this, this will be greater. So this is treated as open circuit. Over here, this is greater. So this will be treated as open circuit and this is greater compared to this. So this side is treated as open circuit. So now you apply your formulas. What are the formulas? We find out cos theta first. So cos theta is PNL by VNL INL. Then you can find out sin theta. Sin theta is equal to square root of 1 minus cos square theta NL. So next what we find out, you can find out ZNL is equal to VNL by INL. And next what you find out is XNL, that is ZNL sin theta NL. Right? Now what will be ZNL? Total impedance of this part. So what is the R value? R1 plus R2 by 4, right? So R1 plus R2 by 4, that is nothing but your RNL. Or you can find out ZNL into cos theta NL. That will also give you your RNL. And compare these two values and check whether it is coming same or not. And what is XNL? Remaining what is X? X1, Xm by 2, X2 by 2. So all this added, X1 plus half taken common, X2 plus X. This is nothing but your XNL. So XNL already calculated by some value will get over here. This we can equate over here. X1, X2 already calculated, right? Over here, X1, X2 already calculated. Substitute it over here, get your value of XL. So these are the formulas which you need to remember. So we'll just quickly go through a problem and end today's topic. So you see, one problems can come from this test. Problem can come from equivalent circuit, similar to your three-phase induction motor also. Over there, problem can come from equivalent circuit. Problem can come from this test. So these are the type of things that is common between the two. So 220 volt machine is given. Block rotor test is performed. Data is given. No load test is performed. Data is given. Stator winding resistance is given directly. No DC resistance is stated. So directly I'll take it as 1.5. If it is DC resistance stated, then I'll multiply with 1.2 or 1.1 or 1.3, whatever you want to do. Okay. So from block rotor test, what is block rotor test? Will get VSC, ISC, and WSC or PSC. So VSC is 120, ISC is 9.6, PSC is 460. We'll go by the formula. First ZSC, VSC by ISC, 120 by 9.6. That gives you 12.5. Next, RSC. We'll just go by the formula. I'm not going to the slides again and again. The same things are written over there. Okay. So what is RSC? PSC by ISC square. So WSC or PSC by ISC square. So PSC by ISC square gives you 460 by 9.6 square. That is nothing but equal to R1 plus R2. So 2 into R2 gives you R1. So what was R2? RSC minus R1. R1 brought in this other side minus R1. So that gives me 3.49. How was XSC calculated? Root over ZSC square minus RSC square. You can do this. You can get your values 11.46 and X1 is equal to X2 is equal to XSC by 2. That is 11.46 by 2, 5.73. So same formulas that is written over here, just applied over here. Similarly goes for your no load test. All the data is VNL, INL, PNL. First find out your cos theta, PNL by VNL, INL. Then find out your sin theta, root over 1 minus cos square theta. So get you this one. Then ZNL, VNL by INL, 220 by 4.6. Get your value. XNL, ZNL, sin theta NL. You can get all your values, and at last x1 plus x2 plus xm is equal to xn is equal to xn. And one extra formula over here. What is the rotational losses? Okay. Now, if you look into this diagram over here, there will be some no load rotational losses or copper losses over here also, because there are two present over here. So, okay. Sorry, this one, right? No load test. Okay. Now, there is some resistance present over here. Not only the loss will be your cold loss, there will be also some rotational losses or I square R losses. As a combined way, we will tell that as a no load rotational losses. So how can you find out that no load rotational losses? We had done this in 3-phase induction motor also. So if I calculate the total loss in this over here, no load test, and subtract the I square R losses, then I'll get my no load rotational losses. So this is my total power loss present in 125 watt. That is no load. But we are seeing that there are some resistance present over here. So there will be some losses in the resistance also. What is the resistance? R1 and R2 by 4. So what is my power over here? PNL, right? So PNL minus your INL square into R1 plus R2 by 4. That is 125 minus INL is 4.6. R1 and R2 already calculated as 3.49, and R1 is how much? Oh, R1 is given 1.5. So 1.5 and 3.49 divided by 4. That gives you 64.8 watt. So that is your no load rotational losses, except your copper loss. So this is how a problem can come. Very easy. Just follow the steps. Okay, just follow the formulas. Try to find out equivalent circuit parameters. If it is a large problem, then you may be told to calculate all these values. Then you may be told to apply these formulas. Then you may be told to find out these formulas. But I don't think it will be a huge problem if I combine these two. These problems can come separately. No theoretical questions, I think, should come from here, but these approximations can come as MCQ. 1 marks question. Why is this neglected? What happens to the slip during this condition? Why is this part neglected? Okay, so all because the slip is 1 and this becomes greater than this, and all this which we have discussed, flux is small, so magnetizing current can be neglected. All this can be asked as a MCQ, and problems will come definitely from these two topics. Next day, what we'll do, I think we'll study about approximate equivalent circuit and then go to starting methods. Means how those induction motors should be started, because there is no starting torque. So how should I provide the starting torque? We'll go into those methods. Okay. So today, this is up to this. If you have any doubt, you can ask, or we'll end the syllabus. So please go through the problems. Problems will come. I have given you 3 books. For your reference, you can go through these 3 books, or you can download any other books and study. If you have books at home, no problem. If you don't have, you can follow those PDFs which I have given. And these notes are already being shared in your Google Classroom. Okay, I'm ending the meeting. Thank you.